Oh, hey guys, it's Dr. J, and welcome to the Fueling Her podcast. Today with me, I have, first of all, she is gorgeous, y'all. She is so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. My friend, Susan Winograd, she is a fellow therapist. She is a mom. She might as well be like a pioneer. I mean, the woman is amazing, but y'all, she is so stinking beautiful. God, she's so gorgeous. I'm be like you when I grow up, girl.
I knew there was a reason I loved you so much.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are located.
Okay, so I am fortunate enough to live in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. I am originally a New Yorker. And I moved here 8 years ago, and I absolutely love it. Like you said, I am a mom. I have a husband who works in the emergency room from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
God bless him.
Yeah, and I have 4 kids. So, a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
I started out my practice with another company called Home Advantage Rehab. It was a concierge orthopedic company where I saw orthopedic cases in their homes. And then I had worked with this wonderful physician who referred a ton of clients to me with balance issues because he believed that balance issues should be treated before people fall, and then they have to be treated. We should do some fall prevention. And I noticed that a ton of people were falling because they were running to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I started on my own doing some bowel and bladder retraining within that, forum, and I loved it. And then literally one day, a physician that specialized in prostate cancer came over to me and said, I have a ton of pelvic patients that I have no idea what to do with. Will you treat them? And for some godforsaken reason, I had a great business going. I'm like, sure. And I started taking Herman and Wallace courses and myofascial release courses, and I became obsessed. And very shortly after that, I closed down my orthopedic company, and Pelvicore Rehab was born. And that really just changed like the trajectory of my life, my career, my calling. So all good here in Boca Raton, Florida.
Wow. People, you see, you can have it all. Don't let anybody tell you differently. You can be a wife and a mom, like a super mom, because I quit at 2 kids. She's got 4, y'all. And you can be a superwoman.
It's not as glamorous as it seems.
But don't listen to her, guys, because she's really pretty. So clearly it is. But so, I mean, tell me, we are in, unprecedented times. And like I said before, God bless your husband. I mean, I bet he's going through it right now, being in the ER. But, oftentimes as women, they say men are the head of the household, but we really know who the real head of the household is, right? Because, mommy, I can't find this. Honey, I can't find this. Like, we have to know where everybody's stuff is. We have to fix everybody's boo-boos. We have to feed them. We have to love on them, all sorts of stuff. But then in addition to that, you're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. And so you've got these things that you need to balance. How crazy is that right now?
Yeah, it's really, really challenging right now. It's always challenging, and I feel like it's always something that we're towing a fine line with. I happen to be extremely fortunate that I have an incredible husband who's incredibly supportive. And even though he works at night, chips in. My kids are older. So this change in my career happened at a time in my life where I was really able to invest time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 21-year-old, I have a 19-year-old, I have a 16-year-old, and I have a 13-year-old. So everybody still needs me, but no one, I had the luxury now to not, be able to have a little more flexibility with my schedule. Everyone's pretty much independent with homework now. That being said, That being said, I still have to get dinner on the table every night, and I still like to be very involved in my kids' lives. It's a balance, but I can truly tell you, Jay, and I know you feel the same way. I love what I do. I love it. There is not, a single day that goes by that I say, oh my God, I wish I didn't have to work, or this is too much for me. It's, I just, there's no other life that I would want to have to balance than the one that I'm balancing right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's not challenging. It is, but we do the best we can. And sometimes we don't do a great job, and that's okay.
That's okay.
And yeah, and honestly, I've been trying to meditate more. Right now I'm reading Suzanne Durano's book, Full Body Presence, and really trying to do her grounding and filling meditations. I think the older I get, the more value and necessity I see in that. And I think that's really been helping me stay grounded and just, kind of realize what's important. I don't need to get stressed out about everything. I
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of the times, but I try to go back to it and just stay as grounded as I can and as positive as I can.
Yeah, I learned after having kids the concept of pick your battles. Everyone would say that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I would often go, what the heck does that even mean though? And and then I became a mom and I'm going, oh, that's what that means, because some days you're just like, you know what? Nobody's dying.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes. And if
Yeah.
eating becomes a recreational sport when everybody's homebound, then so be it. We will go back to eating clean when
Mm-hmm.
life goes back to normal.
Yep. It's crazy. I mean, even at this time, like we talked a little bit on earlier before we started the podcast, but like you've got a house full of people, and it's like, wow, the house was quiet for a while. Wait, now you're all back here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like, you've got teenagers, and they eat like God. Like they eat so much. I've got
Seven
a 4-year-old who's a bottomless pit.
seven adults living in my house. It's insane. I made tilapia for dinner last night. I think I made 15 pieces and they were gone. Crazy. But
Wow.
you know what, Jay? Thank God we're all under one roof and
Hmm.
we're healthy. And, it's a little sad that when things like this happen in the world, you just become so thankful for the simplest things. Well,
Hmm.
health is not so simple, but, it's the important things.
Oh, yeah. And I think you made a great point because I think when we started hearing all of the news and media outlets saying, all right, well, this is going to be closed, and the governors of all the states started shutting things down. And the first thing that happened was panic, you
Yeah.
know, and, I was in a mom's group, and the moms were all like, holy crap, I'm supposed to work, parent, and teach kids at the same time? What the heck? But what do you say for people out there in terms of how to prioritize, how to, because you're a business owner, you're a mom, you've been through this, you've got 4 kiddos. So how do you even begin to prioritize?
So, first of all, family always comes first. That's number one. They are my number one priority. And the other thing that I could say is that I am super organized. I feel like, I always say like organized life, organized mind. Like, I feel like sometimes I want to make sure that there's dinner on the table, and I'll wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and make dinner so that I know that that's done for the day.
Hmm.
I try to give every one of my kids individual time. And when I'm in my normal life, I feel like I prioritize my family first, and I structure my day in a way that I can address all of their needs, and then get that work life in, um, to the best of my ability. I've been a physical therapist for 25 years, and I would say, like, with the last year as an exception, I was always home when my kids left to school, and I was always home when they got home from school. That was my rule that I created for myself. Anything that happened while they were in school, then work was my priority. Um,
Hmm.
So now my kids are a little bit older and they really could care less whether I'm home when they get home from school. So I've given myself a little bit of flexibility with that. But that's really how I structure my life. I feel like now in these crazy, crazy times, I still kind of do the same thing. You know, I'm still working on my business. So still, you know, I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning and I made soup for dinner and we're having pizza tonight. So that's one way I make my life easier. But, you know, then I lock myself in my office and I catch up with emails and administrative stuff. But it's always been sort of like this like tree in my head of my family, my job, and what I need to get done throughout the day, and just being super organized. And again, sometimes things go haywire and that's okay. I think, you know, I think as I get older, even though I think my life has gotten busier and I'm an entrepreneur, I really try not to be so hard on myself. You know, I have a to-do list in the beginning of every day, and sometimes that to-do list carries over to the next day and the day after that, but the list is there and I know it's going to get done eventually. And again, I really, you know, today I had, you know, I had some time, so I like got down on the floor and I just meditated for a couple of minutes, and I really feel like I'm finding much more value in that, in just juggling and balancing.
Absolutely. Because that was going to be my next question. Self-care. You know, we
Yeah.
hear it all the time. We hear, oh, you know, you have to prioritize self-care, and and I do such a horrible job of this, because I might say, I'm going to take 15 minutes to do this. But then the kiddos, you know, are like, mommy, and it's like, okay. Or it's like, oh, but I got to do this thing for work. And then the self-care kind of goes out the window. So what do you say for moms, for women, as it relates to self-care and things that they can do to kind of, you know, take a little bit of time to focus on them, because it certainly does give you like a little bit of a boost to your day anyway.
Absolutely. So first thing I want to say is my younger self, not that I'm so old, but you know, 5, 10 years ago, I was really hard on myself about self-care. I feel like, you know, I'd be like, I have to go to yoga twice a week and I have to run twice a week and I have to do that. And that became a stress in my life, like getting the self-care in. And then I transitioned to, I'm only going to do what I want to do in terms of self-care. So I'm less hard on myself in terms of that, but I think that self-care has to be flexible and it has to be what feels good for you. And I think that some days 5 minutes of meditation feels good for me, and that's okay. And then some days I need to go for a jog. Jogging for me is probably the most meditative thing. It's when I get in my zone. I feel like I can think the most clearly. So it's a great stress reliever for me. Some days I just need to go for a jog, and some days I need yoga. So it's sort of like, I see what fits into my schedule. If I can get you know, I don't work on Fridays. I'm fortunate enough not to have to. That's usually my yoga day, and I love that. And some days it's just like sitting and having a cup of coffee outside. I kind of, you know, the older I get, I stop putting value on how much time I spend on self-care. It's what I need that day. And I would tell people to give yourself what you need that day. And if you don't have a lot of time, give yourself 5 minutes. And if you have a little more time, you know, take an hour and go for a walk. But, you know, especially now during the whole Corona craze, everybody's home. You know, sometimes when everybody's in their normal life, I'll go and do a workout video at home even. But now I just take my dog for a walk and look. I know it sounds so corny, but I live in Florida and I just look at the sky and the trees, and I feel like it is so important to realize what a beautiful world we live in despite the craziness that's going on. I really do, and I really have been taking the time to do that several times a day. I will be walking outside and I will text my best friend that lives in New York and be like, you got to see the sky today. I've never seen a shade of blue that color. So I think self-care is so important, but it can't be something else that stresses you out. And I'm speaking to that from experience, because I feel like I'd be like, I didn't work out today. I didn't meditate today. I didn't take time for myself today. Oh my God, the day is escaping me. And now it's like, okay, if I have a great cup of coffee from my espresso machine, sometimes that's enough.
I need to get an espresso machine.
Oh my God, awesome. Awesome. That's like, I don't work on Fridays, and that's like my Friday, like wake up, have an espresso, go to yoga, stay sticky in my yoga clothes all day.
That's awesome. And one of the things that you mentioned was gratitude. And I think what goes along with that is being present, because, it's crazy right now. It's super crazy. But I read something today. It was a meme, and it said it was speaking to the future. So, and it was written by a psychologist. So this is like the year 2030 or 2040, and the kid is in college. Yeah. And so it says, the kid is saying, Mom, no, the mother is like, do you remember that corona epidemic? Or Mom, how was life during that corona epidemic? And the mother was like, things were crazy. We didn't have jobs, and you were stuck in the house, and we didn't have this, and we didn't have that, and people were dying, and this is this, and all these things. And it was all the negatives. And then the child spoke, and the child said, that's interesting, because all I remembered was I got more time with you. We didn't have to go to school, so we had a longer summer. I got to stay home. We got to go for more walks, in the neighborhood. We got to play a lot. And it started to, we had dinner together as a family every night. We had this, we had that. And it just spoke a lot to perspective. And just learning to be present sometimes in the moment, because we can get so caught up with the negativity, and the busy, and, even outside of Corona, I think sometimes we get so caught up with the busy, and I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, instead of just taking a step back and, just enjoying the cup of coffee.
Yeah. My husband and I were telling the kids the other day that they're going to remember this Corona event as an event that happened in their lives. Like, we'll always remember, 9/11, we'll probably always remember Corona, but they'll remember Corona as an event where school was canceled for this semester. And I really am trying to make a concerted effort not to create a vibe of panic in the house. But as you said, like, we eat dinner together every night at 6 o'clock now. Like, in everybody's regular life, now everybody's home by 6 o'clock. My husband's rushing out to work. Now we literally sit down, we have dinner together. No one's really in a rush to go anywhere. We sit on the couch and hang out. I feel like, I hope that they do remember it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I have a daughter that's married, that got married in August. Wow, that was like a time where my married daughter was home for like 3 months. Like, when is that ever going to happen again?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope we all are able to reflect on the gravity of what's going on, but also thankful that we were able to make it quality time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. And something I wanted to touch on too, going back to just your intro, a lot of females. So this podcast is about women's wellness, empowerment, and just not wellness from the physical aspect alone, but just, that's why we called it Fueling Her, because we want to kind of focus more mind, body, just kind of a comprehensive and holistic thing, kind of like how we practice as clinicians. And I know a lot of times, I was actually just having this conversation with a friend of mine, and she was like, yeah, I can't have a family now. I probably won't ever have a family, because she's so stuck in her career. She was like, well, there are these levels, there are these things that I have to achieve, and I have to have this, and I can't have, and it's like I'll have one, but I can't have the other. And you've been a clinician for 25 years, you're married, you have 4 amazing kids, 5 if we count the son-in-law, 5 amazing kids.
I do count him as one of my children. I absolutely love and adore him.
That's how you did a good job, because she picked well.
I love him.
And so you've got that, you're a business owner. So there's so many different things that most people would look at and go, how on God's earth does she do that? Does she manage that? It's not possible. So what would you say to people, or what would you say to your younger self who is probably, thinking, could it be possible? Would I have this? What would you say to that person?
So the first thing I think that, well, let me start by saying that a couple of weeks ago, well, more than a couple months ago, I took a course at Upledger. I took Total Body Balancing course. And, there are a lot of really energetic people that take those courses, and everyone's sort of into like the mind body connection. And as you know, when we're in those courses, you take turns being the patient and the therapist. And I was lying down, and I was the patient at the time, and the therapist, one of the attendees was coming to work on me. And as she approached me, she was like, "Whoa, your energy is so full of gratitude." And that was like the biggest compliment I think anyone has ever given me. So I think I would tell my younger self to stop being so busy being busy, like I said, and take a moment to have gratitude. And I think that having gratitude keeps you grounded. And I think you can have it all. I am a mom. I do have 4 kids. I do have a husband who works at night, and I do have my own company, and it's all great. And I manage it all, and every woman can. You have to be grateful that you have the opportunity to do all of it. And I think that you can accomplish whatever your mind believes you can accomplish. If you think that you can only have a job or only have a baby, that's okay if that's what you want. But if you want it all, you have to have the mindset that you can do it all, and just be organized and prioritize, and know that things are going to get hairy sometimes, and it's okay. And, I don't want to give you the impression that I never get stressed out. I do, but I always come back to the gratitude part of it. And I really, really believe that that opens doors for you. I cannot emphasize that enough. I feel like life opens doors, and you have to decide whether you're going to go through them or not. And I think I have just decided to go through the doors that were important to me in life. And being good at it is not an option, because they're all really important to me. So, I do believe that women can have it all. And I think that we can be great at everything, but I do think that we have to be organized and prioritize, and do take self-care for, for what is important and what feels good to you. And I think you need to have a great support system. I always tell my clients, and I believe this like for myself as well, it's not one person in your life or one clinician in your life that's going to probably help be that magic bullet. You need a village of really, really important people. And I am so blessed to have that. So, I think that the older I get, the more I'm able to let that village in and help me when I need it.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, you're talking about another challenge right there, to be able to accept help. That's huge. Yeah. Because when you're so accustomed to doing everything, it's hard.
Yeah, my husband and I always have this conversation. I'll come home, and, there needs to be shopping and dinner, and I'll get annoyed with my kids that no one did it. And he was like, "Well, why don't you just tell them to?" I'm like, "I don't have to tell them to. They should know."
They should know.
And sometimes, you just have to tell people what you need them to do, and that's it. And that's okay.
I have had to learn to do that. It's very hard. It's harder than it sounds. It's like, because why don't you know?
It's very hard, Jay. Especially, I feel like we're pretty similar in how we manage our lives. I think you do a lot more than I do. You do a lot more than I do when I was your age. And I think sometimes we have to let go of the mindset that we need to micromanage, and we need to do everything the way we want to do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so hard. So hard. It's a work in progress.
It's hard. It's really hard to delegate, but sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, it's so hard. So if people want to find you, if people are in Florida and they're in need of a therapist, a physical therapist. She specializes in pelvic floor therapy, guys. So men, women, and do you work with kids too?
I don't work with kids myself, but the Jessica Lockhart, who's amazing, is the new therapist that's going to be working with me, and she does, and she's awesome.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And just like myself, she does offer online sessions. So guys, if you are in Florida, don't think that during this time, you have to kind of not get the help that you need. If you need her, she's there. I mean, she's got a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, wellness coaching, because there's a lot more to life than just, physical fitness and therapy. I mean, wellness coaching and just taking that holistic approach and perspective. So where can they find you?
So I welcome everybody to visit my website, which is www.pelvicorerehab.com, PELVICORE, rehab.com. I'm on Facebook.
Yay!
Winograd at Pelvicore Rehab. I'm on Instagram, Susan Winograd at Pelvicore Rehab. And they can Google me. A lot of people find me on Google. I am a pelvic health and wellness therapist, but my tagline and my philosophy in treatment is total body approach to treatment. I do craniosacral therapy, I do visceral. We both know people come in, they think they're only going to be treated for their pelvis, but it really is total body. I try to stay active on Facebook, posting useful information. But visit my website. There's lots of good information on there about who I am and what I do and the services I offer.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Susan, thank you so much. I feel like this recording is going to be such a blessing to so many people, because especially those women, those moms. I mean, you don't even have to be a mom, but just knowing, to kind of take a step back, being able to take a step back from life and kind of focus on some of those things that we talked about, especially in a time as chaotic as this one. Yes. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Jay. You are awesome, my friend. You're an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
All those pelvic health therapists out there, you do it all, my friend. And I hope your family stays well and healthy during this crazy time.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Guys, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Fuel in Her podcast. If you've got questions for Susan, you can visit her website. If you've got questions for me, www.jmmhealthsolutions.com. You can reach me there. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and wash your hands, okay? Bye, y'all.
For 20 seconds.
For 20 seconds. Bye, y'all.